My name is Yolanda Lawson. I'm 34 years old, and apparently I'm the kind of woman who can host a wedding she isn't even invited to. At least, that's what my sister-in-law seemed to believe. I've been following drama forums for years. Slow evenings, late nights, early mornings when sleep felt optional. I always read the wild stories about sisters-in-law with this strange mix of fascination and disbelief. Surely no one's life is really like that, I used to think. Then my own story happened, and I finally understood why those posts were written the way they were, like someone shaking while typing. Let me set the stage. I've been with my boyfriend, Evan Whitmore, for 8 years. We met in college, survived exams on instant noodles, and built a life together, piece by piece. We aren't married legally, but emotionally, practically, financially, we're a unit. His parents see me as their future daughter-in-law. Everyone does, honestly. Everyone except his younger sister, Bella. Bella is 27 and still living with their parents. No job, no degree, not even the intention of pursuing either. She dropped out of college after following some influencer who preaches that degrees don't make millionaires, and a true queen manifests abundance. She doesn't study for it. Her parents shrugged and let it happen. They complain about their finances every week, yet they fund her lash extensions, spa days, and endless content creation outfits. It's like watching people shovel money into a fire and wonder why it keeps burning. Meanwhile, I grew up with the opposite kind of parenting. My parents are wealthy, quietly, tastefully wealthy. Private school, yes. But beyond that, nothing was handed to us. When my brother and I reached high school, my father sat us down and said, "We're not paying for college, earn scholarships, or take loans. Your life is yours to build." We were furious. Everyone else's parents were paying for tuition, books, housing. Why not ours? But we worked, we studied, we earned scholarships. And now, at 34, I understand what they were doing. They were teaching us to stand. When I landed my first real job after graduation, I went a little wild. Vacations, brunches, weekend trips. The thrill of finally having spending money. I thought my father would smile, maybe even indulge me. Instead, he drove me to look at houses. I remember thinking, oh, is he finally buying me something? He wasn't. He pointed at a listing and said, "You're buying this house. I'll pay the down payment. The mortgage is yours. Rent out part of it to cover the cost. One day you'll thank me." I wanted to scream. Now I thank him every day. This 4-bedroom house with a pool, big garden, glass panel living room, completely mine, feels like the safest place I've ever had. My anchor. My proof that I can survive anything. Which is exactly why what happened next hit so hard. Evan's family. Evan's parents live across town. We see them occasionally. Our relationship is decent. Not close, not distant. Comfortable. His mother and I talk once a week. His father is quieter but kind. Bella, however, Bella has hated me since the moment we met. I tried at first. I even encouraged her to finish college, to find a job, any job, to start building something. She interpreted this as jealousy. "Your parents abandoned you. Mine love me enough to take care of me," she once said. We will not unpack that level of delusion today. Despite always claiming financial hardship, Evan's parents still fund all her luxuries. Evan and I tried to help, offering to help her polish a resume, look for internships, anything. She ignored every attempt. So when she got engaged, the chaos practically announced itself. The wedding request. Her fiancé, Liam, is Irish and apparently comes from a wealthy family. Banker. Charming smile. I barely knew him. Our paths rarely crossed. One night, Evan sat beside me on the sofa, rubbing the back of his neck the way he does when he's bracing to deliver difficult information. "You're going to get a call," he said. "From who?" I asked, already suspicious. "My mom or Bella or both. She wants to have the wedding here." "At our house?" I repeated. "At your house," he corrected softly. "In the garden. Dinner in the living room. Her fiancé's family staying in the guest rooms." I stared at the fireplace, imagining strangers crowding through the hallways, wet footprints by the pool, noise echoing off the high ceilings. "And what do you think?" I asked. He shook his head. "It's your house, yo. I'm not making this decision for you." That's exactly why I love him. He never treats my property as something he's entitled to, only something he's grateful to share. But I could already feel the pressure building before my phone rang. And of course, it did. Bella didn't even say hello properly. She launched into what sounded like a Pinterest board on steroids. Outdoor ceremony, fairy lights, poolside photos, dinner indoors, my in-laws can stay upstairs. Your house is perfect, Yolanda. She spoke in fast, breathless excitement, and then she said the part that made the air still. They're expecting a big house. I told Liam's family that this place was mine. Silence. You what? I said slowly. Oh, relax, she chirped. It's not like they need the details. They just need to believe I come from a beautiful home. Otherwise, they'll judge. Bella, I said. What if I say no? The silence on her end was immediate. Then came her trembling, manipulative voice. Mom and Dad already told them we'd host. If you say no, they'll have to borrow money for a venue. They can't afford it. Please, Yolanda, don't embarrass us. And then Evan's parents called. Same pleading tone, same guilt. Eventually, like an idiot, I said yes. The breaking point. Fast forward 3 months. The wedding is now 2 days away. I took leave from work to deep clean the guest rooms I hadn't used since paying off my mortgage. I hired a cleaner, moved old boxes, rented a larger dining table for the rehearsal dinner. And then, while I was at work, my phone buzzed with a motion alert from my living room camera. I opened the app and froze. Bella and 2 men, strangers, were inside my house. My sister-in-law and her wedding planners, she explained when I called. Just doing a site visit. Relax. Relax. The next morning, she showed up at 6 a.m., stomping through my house in full glam, suitcase in hand, heading to her bachelorette party. She inspected every room like a hotel manager, then announced with a bright smile, "These 2 bedrooms are ready for my parents. They'll take your master bedroom, of course. I'll take the one with the walk-in closet." I blinked. Bella, if your parents take our room, where do Evan and I sleep? She tilted her head, confused by the question. I don't know. Your parents' place? A hotel? You guys make good money. It's just for 2 days. The way she said it, like we were temporary tenants she needed out of the way, made something cold rise in my chest. And why, I said carefully, do we need to move out of our own home? She scoffed. Because to Liam's family, this is my parents' house. You 2 can't be here ruining the illusion. And besides, you're not invited. I felt the earth tilt. I'm sorry, I said slowly. I must have misheard. We're not invited to your wedding? She shrugged like it was nothing. You're a lot, Yolanda. You talk about careers and investments and all that. You always steal attention without trying. I want the focus on me, so you and Evan will stay away. I stared at her, silent. Something inside me clicked, a cold, precise stillness. Let me go wake Evan, I said softly. He deserves to hear this. Evan stumbled out of the bedroom, rubbing his eyes, hair sticking up in every direction. He looked half asleep and fully confused. Yo, why are you yelling my name like the house is on fire? He mumbled. It is on fire, I said, voice dangerously calm. Your sister just informed me we're not invited to her wedding. He blinked, still waking up. What? Whose wedding? Bella's. Of course we're invited. It's at our... He froze. The realization hit him like a slap. Wait, she said that? He asked, fully awake now. Bella, standing in my hallway with her suitcase, sighed dramatically. Oh my God, Evan, don't be so sensitive. I didn't invite you, okay? I didn't want Yolanda stealing my spotlight. She talks too much. She knows too much. I cut in sharply. Finish that sentence. I dare you. Bella only smirked. Evan stared at her in disbelief. You planned your wedding in our house and you didn't think we'd be there? She waved a manicured hand. You can come if you want, but Yolanda should probably fake sick or something, so I don't have to explain her absence. I don't want drama. I laughed. Loud. Sharp. Bitter. I'm not invited, but you want me to fake an excuse? Bella, are you hearing yourself? She patted my arm like I was a confused child. You should actually be grateful. I'm giving your house a chance to shine. I felt something inside me snap clean in half. The lie comes full circle. Bella wandered through the rooms again, humming excitedly, oblivious to the storm she had just created. And remember to take down those photos in the hallway, she said lightly. They'll ruin the illusion. The illusion, I repeated slowly, that this house belongs to your parents, not me. She flashed a bright, unbothered smile. Exactly. You get it now. I stared at her. Bella, I said, if you lied to your fiancé's family about something this big, what else have you lied about? Her face flushed crimson. Stay out of my relationship, Yolanda. You're jealous. Of what? I shot back. Your lack of self-respect or your imaginary real estate portfolio? Evan placed a hand gently on my shoulder, grounding me. It's your decision, he whispered. We'll do whatever you want. I nodded, jaw tight. I'm not leaving my house, I said firmly. I'm not going to live out of a suitcase so your sister can pretend this house is hers. Bella rolled her eyes and stomped toward the door. You're being dramatic. I have to go. My bachelorette party starts in 2 hours. Make sure everything's ready when I get back tomorrow. And she left, just like that. As the door closed behind her, the whole house fell silent. Evan and I didn't move, didn't speak. Then I exhaled shakily. I need air. Facing the in-laws. That evening, after hours of pacing and replaying Bella's arrogance in my head, I told Evan, "We're talking to your parents, tonight." We drove across town, and I swear the closer we got, the angrier my heartbeat sounded. When we arrived, his parents already looked guilty. Evan didn't waste time. "Did you know Bella didn't invite us to the wedding?" he demanded. His mother looked down at her hands. "We thought you knew." My voice was ice. "You were okay with her hosting a wedding in my house while excluding me from it?" His mother stammered. "We didn't want to interfere. She said you were fine with it." "Fine?" Evan exploded. "She lied to Liam's family. She lied to everyone. And you let her?" His father sighed heavily, rubbing his forehead. "Look, if it makes things better, can Bella send an invitation now?" I laughed, harsh and humorless. "Oh, sure, let's pretend nothing happened. Let's pretend she didn't call me toxic. Let's pretend she didn't try to evict us." They both flinched at my tone. And then his father said something I'll never forget. "Yolanda, please don't embarrass us." I felt my throat close. Embarrass them by refusing to be walked over? That was the moment I made my decision. "No wedding," I said, "not in my house." His mother's hands flew to her mouth. "Yolanda, no, please." His father stood abruptly. "This ruins everything." "Bella ruined everything," I said quietly. "Not me." We walked out before they could say another word. Operation Save My Sanity. When we got home, it was late, dark, quiet. I looked at Evan and said, "Call a locksmith." He didn't hesitate. At midnight, a tired locksmith changed every lock in the house. I watched through the hallway window as he removed the old deadbolt, the one Bella's spare key could open. I felt lighter with every twist of his screwdriver. When it was done, Evan called his father. "There will be no wedding here," he said simply. "Tell your guests to stay home." His father panicked. His mother cried. Bella didn't pick up. She was drunk at her bachelorette party, no doubt. Evan hung up and looked at me. "You okay?" he asked softly. "No," I said honestly, "but I will be." We slept finally, like people waiting for a storm we knew was coming. The day of the wedding, that never was. At 6 a.m., the doorbell rang. I opened the front door wearing pajamas and zero patience. It was the wedding planner. He looked confused, clipboard in hand. "Hi, I'm here to start setup." "There's no wedding here," I said. He blinked hard. I'm sorry?" "This is my house," I continued calmly. "Bella does not live here. My in-laws do not live here. There will be no wedding here today." He looked at the house, then at me, then back at his clipboard. I need to call them." "You do that." An hour later, Liam, the fiancé, arrived, looking visibly distressed. "Is Bella here?" he asked. "She's not answering her phone. We're supposed to be setting up for—" "There is no wedding here," I said gently, "and I need to tell you something." His expression shifted from confusion to shock to heartbreak. I told him the truth. Everything. Whose house this really was. The lies. The manipulation. The deceit. He didn't yell, didn't deny, didn't argue. He simply closed his eyes and whispered, "Thank you for telling me." What happened next changed everything. Liam stood there on my porch, pale but composed, the morning light catching the edges of his neatly pressed suit. He looked like a groom who had rehearsed this day in his mind over and over, only to watch the script crumble in front of him. He swallowed hard. "So, Bella doesn't live here. And this house, you own it." "Yes," I said gently. "I bought it years ago. Her parents don't own a place like this. They live across town in a small apartment." He stared past me into the hallway, at the photos Bella had wanted me to remove, the ones that proved I lived here and built this home from the ground up. "I feel like a fool," he whispered. "No," I replied softly. "You believe the person you loved. That doesn't make you a fool." He nodded slowly. Then he straightened, cleared his throat, and said, "I think I need to speak to Bella." I nodded and stepped back, allowing him space to leave. He walked away in complete silence. The princess arrives. At a little past 9 a.m., the storm hit. The door shook violently, someone pounding it with both fists, nails scraping wood, breath ragged and furious. "Open this door!" Bella shrieked. "Yolanda, right now!" I didn't move. She kept slamming her palms against the door, screaming like an animal trapped in its own rage. Evan walked in from the back hallway, eyebrows raised. "Bella?" He went to open the door, but I stopped him with a hand on his arm. "Let her scream," I said quietly. Another minute passed before the banging intensified. Finally, I opened the window next to the entrance and looked down at her. Her makeup was smeared, her hair was wild. She looked like she'd run from the salon halfway through getting ready. You ruined my wedding, she screamed, pointing up at me with shaking fingers. You evil, selfish witch. I let her words fall into the morning air. Bella, I said, calm as ice. You lied to your fiancé. His whole family. You lied to the planners. You lied to everyone. This is the consequence of your own actions. You were supposed to leave, she screamed. You were supposed to disappear so I could tell them this house was mine. I tilted my head. So you admit it then? Her face contorted. You think you're better than me, with your job and your house and your stupid perfect life? I didn't respond, because behind her, two of my neighbors had stepped outside to watch, one already holding a phone, recording. And then, Bella, another neighbor yelled. Police are on their way. Bella's eyes widened in panic. She looked left then right, realizing she had no car, no ride, no escape plan. Within seconds, she ran, barefoot, dress half unzipped, like a startled deer sprinting down the street. I closed the window. The aftermath with the in-laws. An hour later, Evan's parents began calling. At first, it was his mother. How could you do this? Bella said you sabotaged everything. He hung up. Then his father. You embarrassed us. You destroyed our family's reputation. He hung up again. Then both of them together, leaving angry voicemails about how I had ruined Bella's wedding and I had broken her heart and I had overreacted. Evan listened to all of it, silent. Then he blocked them. He turned to me and said with a sigh, I'm done. If they want a relationship again, they'll have to fix themselves first. I nodded, exhausted but relieved. Because for once, I wasn't the villain in the story they were trying to write. What happened to Bella? We didn't hear from her for days. Not a text, not a call. Eventually, we learned what little we could from passive whispers floating around the family. Apparently, Liam confronted her in front of both families. She tried to spin another lie. He didn't believe it. He canceled the entire wedding. He returned to Ireland with his family the next morning. She has been hysterically crying ever since. Did any of this surprise me? Not even slightly. But the part that struck me the most came 2 days later, when Liam himself stopped by my house. He wasn't dressed nicely this time. He looked tired, emotionally drained, but calmer. I wanted to thank you, he said quietly, for being honest. I know you didn't owe me that. I shook my head. You deserve the truth from someone. He hesitated, then added, and I'm sorry for everything my ex put you through. I blinked. Ex? Yes, he said firmly. I ended things. A marriage built on lies isn't a marriage I want. He offered a sad smile, then left. Just like that. One final scene. I thought that would be the end. But a week later, on a quiet Saturday morning, the peace shattered again. I was sipping my coffee in the kitchen when, bang, 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 the same furious pounding as before. Yolanda, come out here. I know you're home. Bella, again, screaming that I ruined her life, that I stole her future, that I was a toxic snake who pretends to be kind. I didn't move from my chair. I didn't respond. I let her scream herself hoarse. A neighbor, bless his soul, knocked on my back door. Police are already on the way, he said softly. Stay inside. She bolted when the sirens approached, and that was the last time I saw her. Evan's parents called again that night, screaming and blaming me, but Evan simply hung up and blocked the last remaining numbers. Just like that, we were free. Free from her delusions, free from their manipulation, free from a wedding I was never meant to be part of. And as strange as it sounds, it felt like reclaiming my house all over again.